The heat hit Day One like a physical force. 800 degrees felt like standing inside an oven. His special suit was designed for reactor work, but not for this. Not for this long. He could feel his skin starting to burn even through the protective layers. Step 1. Disengage the automated harmonic compensators. Day One ran to the control panel on the wall. The panel was hot to the touch. His gloves started smoking. He punched in commands, but the system would not respond. The automation was fighting him. It was programmed to never shut down, never give up control. He looked around and found a maintenance tool, a heavy wrench used for manual repairs. He raised it and smashed the control panel. Sparks flew. The system screamed in protest. He hit it again, and again. The panel cracked. Wires exposed. He grabbed the wires with his bare hands, ripping them out. The shock threw him backward. His hands were bleeding, but the automated compensators went offline. 2 minutes gone, 5 minutes left. Step 2. Rotate the quantum field alignment cores. Day One climbed up a ladder to a platform above the reactor. The alignment cores were up here, big metal cylinders that controlled the quantum field geometry. Each one weighed 90 kilograms. They needed to be rotated exactly 90 degrees. The Valerians had designed them to be moved by robotic arms with precise motors. Day One had only his human strength. He grabbed the first core with both hands. His burnt hands screamed in pain. He pulled. The core did not move. It was locked in place by heat and stress. "Come on," he growled through gritted teeth. He braced his feet against the wall and pulled harder. His muscles burned. His vision blurred from the heat. The core started to turn, centimeter by centimeter. His arms felt like they would tear from his shoulders, but he kept pulling. The core turned 90 degrees. It locked into place with a heavy clunk. 3 more cores to go. 3.5 minutes gone. 3.5 minutes left. The second core was harder. The heat had warped it. Day One found a metal pipe and used it as a lever. He pushed with all his weight. The pipe bent. But the core turned. The third core was worse. It was jammed completely. Day One kicked it once, twice, 3 times. His ankle made a cracking sound. Pain shot up his leg. But the core broke free. He rotated it into place. 1 more core, 5 minutes gone. 2 minutes left. His hands were shaking. Blood dripped from his fingers. He could barely see through the sweat and heat. His ankle was probably broken. Every breath hurt his lungs. The radiation was making him sick, but he grabbed the 4th core and pulled. It turned smoothly. Almost too easily. He rotated it into place. Step 3. Purge the destabilized coolant system. Day One climbed back down the ladder. His broken ankle made him stumble. He fell the last meter and landed hard. Pain exploded in his ribs. He gasped for air, no time. Keep moving. The coolant purge valve was on the floor level. A big wheel that controlled the emergency drain. Day One grabbed it and tried to turn it. It did not move. Years of heat and pressure had seized it shut. He looked around frantically. There. A piece of broken pipe from when he used the lever. He grabbed it and jammed it through the wheel spokes. He pulled on the pipe with both hands. The wheel did not budge. Day One screamed and threw his whole body weight onto the pipe. The wheel moved slightly. He did it again. And again. Each time the wheel moved a little more. Finally it broke free. The wheel spun. Contaminated coolant sprayed out from drain ports. The pressure was so high it knocked Day One off his feet. The coolant was boiling hot and radioactive. It splashed on his suit. He could feel his skin burning beneath the fabric, but the coolant was draining. The destabilized liquid that was feeding the cascade was being removed. 6 minutes gone. 1 minute left. Step 4. Reset the entanglement matrix nodes. This was the hardest part. The most precise part. The entanglement matrix controlled how the quantum particles were connected across space. If the timing was wrong by even a nanosecond, the whole reactor would explode immediately. Day One dragged himself to the matrix control station. His vision was fading in and out. He could barely stand. His hands were shaking so badly he could hardly hold the controls. There were 12 nodes. They had to be reset in a specific sequence with exact timing. He closed his eyes and remembered his training from Earth, from 15 years ago, from a lifetime ago. He visualized the quantum states in his mind. He felt the rhythm of the reactor. He let his instincts guide him. His fingers moved across the controls. Node 1, wait 3 seconds. Node 2, wait 2 seconds. Node 3. The pattern was like music, like a dance. His hands moved without thinking. Muscle memory from years of working with reactors took over. Node 7. Node 8. Node 9. The reactor's roar started to change. The chaos was beginning to organize. The cascade was reversing. Node 10. Node 11, almost there. So close. Day 1's vision went black for a moment. He was losing consciousness from radiation sickness. He shook his head violently. Not yet. Not yet. Node 12. The reactor made a deep sound, a resonant tone that vibrated through the chamber. The quantum fields were aligning. The entanglement was stabilizing. 7 minutes gone. 0 minutes left. But there was still Step 5. Step 5. Reinitialize the containment field. Day 1 stumbled to the final control panel. There were 3 buttons that had to be pressed simultaneously while adjusting the magnetic constrictors. It normally required 3 people or 1 person with robotic assistance. He had neither. He pressed 2 buttons with his hands. They were so burnt and damaged he could barely feel them. He pressed the 3rd button with his forehead. Then he had to reach out and turn 3 dials at the same time. He spread his arms as wide as they would go. His burnt fingers found 2 of the dials. He turned them, but he could not reach the 3rd dial. It was too far. He stretched. His ribs, probably cracked from the fall, screamed in protest. His vision went black again. He was shutting down. His body had taken too much punishment. He thought of Jiwoo, her smile, her laugh, her saying, "I love you, Dad," every night before bed. He stretched further. His fingertips barely touched the 3rd dial. He turned it. A millimeter at a time, the containment field powered up. Blue light filled the chamber. The magnetic constrictors engaged. The quantum fields locked into place. The reactor gave one final shudder. Then it settled into a smooth, steady hum. 7 minutes, 34 seconds. It was done. Day 1 collapsed against the wall. He tried to smile. He had done it. 15,000 people would live. His daughter would live. The chamber door burst open. The emergency medical team rushed in. They wore full radiation suits. They surrounded him. "He is alive!" Someone shouted, "Get him to medical." Now they lifted him onto a stretcher. As they carried him out, he saw faces looking at him through the observation windows. Valerian engineers, humans, aliens of every species. All of them watching. All of them alive because of what he did. In the control room, Chief Engineer Catherine watched the reactor displays with disbelief. He did it. The human janitor did it. He did what our best technology could not do. Dr. Hiram stood next to her with tears running down her face. His name is Daewon Kim, and he is a hero. In the medical bay, Daewon drifted in and out of consciousness. He had radiation burns over 40% of his body, 3 broken ribs, a broken ankle, severe internal bleeding. The doctors said a Valerian would have died from the radiation alone. But Daewon was human, and humans were stubborn. 3 days later, he woke up. The first thing he saw was Jiwoo sitting next to his bed. She was holding his hand. When she saw his eyes open, she started crying. "Dad! Dad, you are awake!" "Hey, little star," he whispered. His voice was rough from the damage to his throat. "You saved everyone. Everyone on the whole station. You are a hero. I am just your dad. You are my hero." Dr. Hiram came in. Behind her was Chief Engineer Catherine and Commander Vrelthos. Catherine approached the bed. For the first time, her crystal voice was soft, humble. "I owe you an apology. Many apologies. I was wrong. About you. About humans. About everything. You were scared," Daewon said. "We all were. I let my pride blind me. You tried to warn us. You tried to help, and I dismissed you because you were a janitor. Because you were human. I will carry that shame for the rest of my life. Then let it teach you something. Let it teach all of us something." Commander Vrelthos stepped forward. "The Galactic Engineering Council has reviewed your actions. They want to honor you. They want to name the new safety protocols after you. The Kim protocols. I do not need honor. I just need to know my daughter is safe. She is safe. Everyone is safe. Because of you." Daewon looked at Jiwoo. "That is all that matters." They stayed in the medical bay for 3 more weeks. Humans healed slowly but completely. The Valerian doctors were amazed at how resilient human biology was. When Daewon finally left medical, there was a surprise waiting. His old janitor closet had been replaced with an office. The sign on the door read, Deputy Chief Engineer Daewon Kim Catherine was there to greet him. I want you to help me rebuild the engineering department. We need human perspectives. We need people who see things we miss. We need you. I will do it. But only if we make real changes. No more discrimination. No more assuming one species is better than another. We work together or we do not work at all. Agreed. On his first day as Deputy Chief Engineer, Daewon kept his old mop in the corner of his office. The crisis came faster than anyone expected. Daewon was at home trying to sleep when his datapad started screaming alarms. He grabbed it and looked at the screen. His face went pale. Reactor 7 was in critical failure. The cascade had accelerated. What should have taken 2 more days was happening right now. The quantum fields were collapsing. The containment was failing. In less than 3 hours, maybe less, the reactor would explode with the force of a small star. Daewon jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. He called the Human Emergency Network. It is happening. Get everyone to the shuttles now. Then he woke Jiwoo. She was confused and sleepy. Dad, what is wrong? Remember what I told you? About running if I said to run? Yes, it is time. We need to go right now. He grabbed her emergency bag. They ran out of the apartment. The hallways were still quiet. Most people did not know yet, but soon they would. They reached the human residential section. Other families were coming out of their apartments, parents carrying children, old people helping each other. Everyone looked scared, but they moved quickly. They had practiced this. Daewon found Bora, the teacher. Take Jiwoo to the shuttle bay. Keep her safe, Jiwoo grabbed his hand. Where are you going? I need to help other people. But I promise I will meet you there. Go with Bora, please. Dad, I am scared. I know, little star, but you are brave. You are the bravest person I know. Now go. He kissed her forehead and watched Bora lead her away. His heart was breaking, but he had work to do. At that moment, the station-wide alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed in every hallway. A computerized voice spoke in all languages. Emergency, emergency, reactor critical failure detected. Begin evacuation procedures. Chaos erupted. Daewon ran toward the reactor section. He had to get to the control room. He had to see what was happening. Maybe there was still time to do something. Aliens of every species filled the hallways. Everyone was running. Some toward the shuttle bays, some just running in panic. Daewon pushed through the crowds. His janitor uniform gave him access to restricted areas. The doors opened for him. He reached the reactor control room. It was full of Valerian engineers. They were shouting at each other in their crystal voices. Screens showed red warnings everywhere, numbers climbing higher and higher. Chief Engineer Catherine stood in the center of the chaos. Her crystal body was dark with stress. She was inputting commands as fast as she could. Nothing was working. Emergency shutdown not responding. Someone shouted. Coolant system failure. Containment field at 30%. Temperature exceeding safe limits. Catherine saw Daewon enter. For a moment their eyes met. He saw something in her crystalline face. Not anger, not pride, fear, and maybe regret. You were right, she said quietly. I wish I was wrong, Daewon replied. Can you stop it? Maybe, but not from here. He ran to a computer terminal and pulled up the reactor schematics. The other engineers watched him. They did not stop him. They were out of ideas. What is he doing? One of them asked. Let him work, Catherine said. Daewon studied the readings. It was worse than he thought. The quantum field was in complete collapse. The automated systems could not fix it because they were trying to use solutions that did not work for this type of failure. There was only one way. Manual intervention. Someone had to go inside the reactor chamber and physically reset the systems. Commander Vrelthos's voice came over the intercom. All personnel evacuate immediately. We have less than 3 hours before core breach. 3 hours. 15,000 people. Not enough time. Not enough shuttles. Thousands would die, unless someone stopped it. Daewon looked at the procedure he had developed. 5 steps. 7 minutes. High radiation. Extreme heat. Low chance of success. Even lower chance of survival. He thought about Jiwoo on the shuttle. Safe. She would make it out. Even if thousands of others did not, his daughter would live. But what kind of life would she have knowing her father could have tried to save everyone and did not? What kind of man would he be if he ran when he could fight? Dr. Hiram burst into the control room. Daewon, the shuttles are filling up. There is not enough room for everyone. People are fighting. Children are crying. He looked at her. I can stop it. How? Manual reset. Inside the reactor chamber, her face went white. That is suicide. It is a chance. 40% success rate. That is better than 0. And your survival rate? Does not matter. If it works, 15,000 people live, including my daughter. That is what matters. Daewon, no. There has to be another way. He pulled out a data chip and pressed it into her hand. Give this to Jiwoo if I do not make it. Tell her I loved her more than anything in the universe. Tell her to be brave. Tell her to be better than I was. You are the bravest person I know. No, I am just a father who loves his daughter. He turned to Chief Engineer Catherine. I need access to the reactor chamber, and I need you to clear everyone out of the reactor section. When I do this, there might be an energy surge. Catherine hesitated only a moment. Then she nodded. You will have access, she input commands. The security locks on the reactor chamber disengaged. Thank you, Daewon said. No. Thank you. And I am sorry. Sorry I did not listen. Sorry I was too proud. Save your sorry. Just help get people to safety. Daewon ran out of the control room. He ran through hallways full of panicking crowds. He ran past families holding each other. Past aliens praying in languages he did not understand. Past security guards trying to maintain order. He reached the sealed door to Reactor 7's chamber. He put his hand on the access panel. The door started to open. A voice behind him shouted, "Stop!" He turned. It was a young Valerian engineer, one of Catherine's assistants. You cannot go in there, the engineer said. Someone has to. You will die, maybe, but maybe I will succeed. And if I do, you will live. Your family will live. Everyone will live. Why? Why would you do this? We treated you terribly. We dismissed you. We called you stupid. Why would you sacrifice yourself for us? Daewon smiled sadly. Because it is the right thing to do. And because that is what humans do. We do not give up. We do not run away. We do what needs to be done even when it is hard. Even when it is unfair. Even when nobody expects us to. The door opened fully. Heat washed out. The roar of failing reactor systems was deafening. Tell my daughter I love her, Daewon said. Then he stepped through the door. The last thing he saw before the door, sealed behind him, was the young Valerian engineer, standing there with tears running down his crystal face. Inside the reactor chamber, Daewon faced hell itself. The temperature was 800 degrees. The radiation levels were lethal. The air itself seemed to glow with deadly energy. Plasma arcs jumped between containment rods. The quantum field was visible as waves of distorted space. In the center of it all stood the reactor core, a massive cylinder of glowing metal and crystal. It was beautiful and terrible. Daewon checked his datapad one last time. 5 steps, 7 minutes. The countdown began. His hands were already burning from the heat, but his mind was clear. He knew what to do. He had to save them all. The human community on Celestial Gate Station was small. Only 400 people among 15,000 aliens. They worked as cooks, cleaners, teachers, technicians, jobs that others did not want. They stuck together because they had to. Daewon called a secret meeting in the human cafeteria after hours. About 50 people came. They were tired from their shifts, but they came when Daewon said it was important. He stood in front of them and told them everything. The reactor, the danger, how nobody would listen. Some people looked scared. Some looked angry. A few looked like they did not believe him. Why should we trust you? Asked an older man named Taijin.
He was a shuttle pilot.
Maybe you are wrong. Maybe the Valerians know what they are doing. Maybe I am wrong, Daewon said. But if I am right and we do nothing, our families will die. I would rather be wrong and safe than right and dead. What do you want us to do? Asked a young woman named Bo-Ra. She worked in the human school as a teacher. Prepare to evacuate, quietly. Do not tell anyone outside our community. Pack emergency bags. Keep them ready. When I give the word, we get our families to the shuttle bay as fast as we can. That is illegal, someone said. If we evacuate without permission, we will lose our jobs. If we stay and the reactor explodes, we will lose our lives, Daewon said. The room went quiet. People looked at each other. Finally, Taijin spoke up. I will get the shuttles ready. I can have 3 of them fueled and on standby. That is enough for all of us. Others volunteered. They would spread the word. They would help families prepare. They would watch for signs of danger. "Thank you," Daewon said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I hope I am wrong. I really do. But I cannot take that chance. Not with my daughter. Not with your children." After the meeting, Daewon went home. Jiwoo was drawing pictures on her tablet. She loved to draw. Mostly she drew the station and the stars. "Jiwoo, I need to talk to you about something important." She put down her tablet. "Okay, Dad. Do you remember the emergency drills at school? What you are supposed to do if there is a fire or a hull breach?" "Yes, we go to the emergency exits." "Good. I want you to remember those drills. And I want you to promise me something. If I ever tell you to run, you run. No questions. No waiting. You just run to the shuttle bay. Can you promise me that?" Jiwoo looked worried. "Dad, you are scaring me," he hugged her. "I am sorry, little star. I do not mean to scare you. I just want you to be ready, just in case. Is something bad going to happen? I do not know. But if it does, I will protect you always." That night, Daewon hardly slept. He kept checking his data pad. The vibrations were getting worse. He could see it in the data he was secretly collecting from the engineering systems. At work the next night, things got worse. The automated alarms in Reactor 7 went off twice. Both times, the Valerian engineers reset them and called them false alarms. Both times, Daewon watched and knew they were not false alarms. The system was trying to warn them. But the Valerians had programmed the AI to filter out warnings that did not match their expectations. It was like a doctor ignoring a patient's symptoms because they did not fit a textbook diagnosis. Daewon went deeper into the maintenance tunnels. He found more coolant leaks. The drops had become small streams. The pipes were hot to the touch. He could hear strange sounds inside the walls, creaking, groaning, like the station itself was in pain. He took more pictures, more measurements. He sent them to Dr. Hyrim. She replied with one word: faster. The cascade was accelerating. They had less time than he thought. Daewon made a decision. He hacked into the station's sensor network. This was very illegal. If he got caught, he would go to prison. But he needed to see the real data, not the filtered version that the Valerians looked at. What he saw made his blood run cold. The quantum field inside Reactor 7 was destabilizing. The containment field was weakening. The temperature was rising faster than it should. All the numbers were wrong. All the readings were in the red zone. But the Valerian AI system was marking everything as acceptable. Because it had been programmed to think that this type of failure was impossible. The AI could not imagine something its creators had not taught it to imagine. Daewon called Dr. Hyrim. "We have maybe 48 hours, maybe less. I will try one more time with the station commander. It will not work. I have to try." She did try. She took all the data to Commander Vrelthos again. She brought other human scientists with her. 5 of them. All with advanced degrees, all with evidence. Commander Vrelthos refused to listen. He said they were causing panic. He said they were trying to sabotage the Galactic Engineering Council's visit. He threatened to fire all of them. The Valerians had too much pride. They could not accept that their technology might be wrong. That their AI might miss something. That a human janitor might see something they could not see. That night, Daewon sent a message to all the humans. "Be ready. Tomorrow night." He went home and helped Jiwoo pack a small bag. Just some clothes, her favorite toy, and a picture of her mother. "Are we going on a trip?" Jiwoo asked. "Maybe. I am not sure yet." "Will it be fun?" Daewon looked at his innocent daughter. "I hope so, little star. I really hope so." But he knew the truth. Tomorrow night, one of 2 things would happen. Either he would be proven wrong and they would all look like fools. Or he would be proven right and thousands would die, unless he could find a way to stop it. He stayed up all night studying the reactor schematics, reading old Earth engineering manuals, comparing quantum fusion systems to old fission systems, looking for a solution. At 4 in the morning, he found something. A possibility. A way to manually shut down the reactor and reset the quantum fields. It was based on old emergency procedures from Earth reactors, adapted for quantum systems. But it was dangerous. It would require someone to go inside the reactor chamber. The radiation would be intense. The heat would be extreme. A Valerian could not do it, because their crystalline biology was vulnerable to that type of radiation. They would die instantly. A human might survive. The success rate was maybe 40%. The survival rate was maybe 50%. Daewon looked at the numbers. He looked at Jiwoo sleeping in her bed. He looked at the picture of his wife. He made a copy of the procedure and saved it to a data chip. He wrote a letter to Jiwoo and saved it to the same chip. He put the chip in an envelope addressed to Dr. Hyrim. Then he sat at his window and watched the neutron star until sunrise. Its light was beautiful and terrible, just like the choice he might have to make. At breakfast, Jiwoo noticed he was quiet. "Are you okay, Dad?" "Yes, I am just thinking." "About what?" "About how much I love you. About how you are the best thing that ever happened to me. About how proud I am to be your father." Jiwoo laughed. "You are being weird today." "Maybe a little." He walked her to school and held her hand the whole way. He hugged her extra long at the school door. "Dad, you are embarrassing me," she said, but she was smiling. "Good. That is my job." He watched her go inside. Then he went to find Dr. Hyrim. He gave her the envelope. "What is this?" she asked. "Instructions. In case I do something stupid. Promise me you will read it if something happens to me." "Daewon, what are you planning?"
Hopefully nothing.
"Hopefully I am wrong about everything." But they both knew he was not wrong. The countdown had begun, and Daewon was running out of time to save everyone he loved. 36 hours passed. Daewon went to work as usual, but his mind was not on cleaning. Every chance he got, he checked Reactor 7. The vibrations were getting stronger. He could feel them through his shoes now. Other people walked past and felt nothing. But Daewon knew what to look for. During his break, he went into the maintenance tunnels. These were narrow passages behind the walls where pipes and cables ran. Only maintenance workers and janitors used these tunnels. They were hot and cramped. Daewon had to crawl in some places. He found what he was looking for near Reactor 7. Small drops of liquid on the pipes. Coolant. It was leaking. Not a big leak, just tiny drops. But that meant there were cracks in the pipes. Microfractures. They would get bigger over time. Daewon took pictures with his datapad. He measured the temperature of the pipes. Too hot. About 15 degrees hotter than they should be. He checked the maintenance logs. Other janitors had noted unusual heat in these tunnels 3 weeks ago. But nobody had investigated. All the pieces were coming together. The vibrations, the heat, the leaks. Daewon knew what this meant. The reactor was failing. Slowly, but definitely failing. He had to tell someone with authority, someone who could actually do something. The next day, Daewon requested a meeting with Chief Engineer Catherine. It took 2 days to get the appointment. Chief Engineer Catherine was an important Valerian. She was in charge of all the reactors on the station. She had designed some of them herself. Daewon put on his cleanest uniform. He organized all his data, all his pictures, all his measurements. He practiced what he would say. The meeting was in a large office with windows looking out at space. Chief Engineer Catherine sat behind a desk made of some kind of glowing material. She was tall even for a Valerian. Her crystalline body reflected the light in rainbow colors. She looked at Daewon like he was a stain on her floor. "You have 5 minutes, human, speak." Daewon put his datapad on her desk. "Chief Engineer, I have been monitoring Reactor 7 for the past 3 days. There are serious problems. The harmonic frequencies are wrong. There are coolant leaks in the maintenance tunnels. The temperature is rising. I believe we are looking at a cascade failure." Catherine did not look at his datapad. "Our automated systems monitor every reactor constantly. They use quantum predictive algorithms. If there was a problem, we would know. The systems might not recognize this type of failure. It is caused by harmonic resonance with the neutron star. The gravitational pulses are creating feedback loops in the quantum field." Now Catherine looked at him. Her crystal face seemed sharp, angry. "You dare to tell me about quantum field dynamics? You are a janitor. You push a mop. I was a nuclear engineer on Earth for 15 years. I understand reactor systems." Catherine made a sound like breaking glass. It was Valerian laughter. "Earth, your planet's technology is centuries behind ours. You play with primitive fission reactors like children with toys. You understand nothing about quantum fusion, nothing. Physics is physics. The fundamental principles are the same. If you would just look at my data, I do not need to look at your data. I have instruments more sensitive than your entire planet could build. I have AI systems with processing power beyond your comprehension. And all of them tell me that Reactor 7 is operating normally, but the vibrations are within acceptable Parameters. The coolant leaks are minor and scheduled for routine maintenance. The temperature is normal for this type of reactor under current load. Daewon felt desperation rising in his throat. Please, just send someone to check. Just to be sure, Catherine stood up. She was much taller than Daewon. She looked down at him. I am insulted that you would question my engineering. I am insulted that you would waste my time with your human intuition and your primitive understanding. You are dismissed. And if you continue to spread panic about non-existent problems, you will be dismissed permanently from your job. Do you understand? 2 security guards appeared at the door. They were big aliens with thick armor. Daewon picked up his datapad. His hands were shaking again. I understand. He left the office. The security guards followed him all the way to the elevator, making sure he left. On the elevator ride down, Daewon wanted to scream. He wanted to shake someone. He wanted to make them see, but he could not. He was nobody. Just a janitor. Just a human. When he got home, Jiwoo was doing her homework. She looked up and saw his face. Dad, are you okay? He forced a smile. I am fine, little star. Just a long day, but he was not fine. That night, he could not sleep. He thought about the reactor, about the slow cascade building inside it, about how much time they had left. Days, weeks? He did not know exactly, but he knew it was coming, and Jiwoo's school was in Section C. If the reactor exploded, Section C would be destroyed. His daughter would die. Thousands of people would die. He got up and went to her room. She was sleeping. He watched her breathe so peaceful and innocent. He made a promise to himself. He would save her, no matter what it took, even if nobody believed him, even if he had to act alone. The next night at work, Daewon did something he had never done before. He broke the rules. He accessed restricted areas without permission. He copied data from engineering systems. He took pictures of things he was not supposed to see. In a quiet corner of the maintenance tunnels, he met another human. Her name was Dr. Hai Rim Park. She was a physicist, one of the few humans who worked in a technical position. She had noticed him accessing the engineering databases. What are you doing? She asked. She looked suspicious. Trying to save lives, Daewon said. He showed her everything. His measurements, his pictures, his calculations. At first she did not believe him, but then she looked at her own research data. She studied particle physics. Her instruments had been showing strange readings near Reactor 7. Readings she could not explain. They compared notes. Her particle readings matched his physical observations. They were seeing the same problem from different angles. How long do we have? She asked. Daewon did some calculations on his datapad. Maybe 2 days. Maybe 3. It depends on how fast the cascade accelerates. We need to tell the station commander. I already tried. Nobody will listen. Then we go over their heads. We go to Commander Vrelthos himself. They requested an emergency meeting. It took 8 hours to get it. 8 hours they did not have. Commander Vrelthos was the leader of the entire station. He was an old Valerian, his crystal body darker than most. He sat in a command center surrounded by screens and displays. Daewon and Hyarim presented their evidence. They spoke clearly and calmly. They showed all their data. Commander Vrelthos listened. Then he shook his head. I cannot evacuate 15,000 beings based on this. The Galactic Engineering Council is visiting us this week. This station is the pride of Valerian engineering. If I evacuate now and nothing happens, we will be humiliated. The Valerian people will be humiliated. But sir, Hyarim said, if we do nothing and it does explode, Chief Engineer Catherine assures me that the reactor is safe. She is one of the finest engineers in the galaxy. I trust her judgment over the theories of 2 humans. One of whom cleans toilets, Daewon said quietly. Commander Vrelthos looked at him. Yes, exactly. They were escorted out by security. Again. Outside, Hyarim looked at Daewon. What do we do now? Daewon thought about Jiwoo. About all the human families on the station. We save who we can. The mop moved across the clean white floor in steady strokes. Daewon Kim had been cleaning this same hallway for 2 years now. His hands knew every corner, every tile, every spot where dirt liked to hide. The hallway was in Sector 7 of the Celestial Gate Station, a huge space station that orbited a neutron star far from Earth. It was 3 in the morning, station time. Most people were asleep. Day one liked the night shift. It was quiet. He could think. And he could be home when his daughter Jiwoo woke up for school. Day one pushed his cleaning cart toward the reactor section. The doors were marked with warning signs in 12 different alien languages. He had special permission to clean here. Most janitors were not allowed in this area. But Day one had worked here long enough that the security system recognized his face. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Cool air touched his face. The reactor room was always cold. Giant machines hummed all around him. Lights blinked on control panels. Pipes as thick as tree trunks ran along the walls and ceiling. This was where the station got its power. Without these reactors, 15,000 people would die in the cold darkness of space. Day one started mopping near Reactor Core 7. As he worked, he felt something strange. The floor was vibrating. Not much, just a tiny shake that came and went. He stopped and put his hand flat on the ground. There it was again, a vibration that did not feel right. He had felt vibrations like this before, a long time ago back on Earth when he was an engineer, before everything went wrong, before his wife died, before he became just a janitor. Day one stood up and walked around the reactor. He touched the pipes. They were warm but not too hot. He listened to the hum of the machines. Something was off. The sound was not quite right. It was like listening to music when one instrument is slightly out of tune. Most people would not notice. But Daewon noticed. He pulled out his datapad and made notes. Vibration patterns, temperature readings, sound frequencies. His engineering training came back to him like an old song he used to know. Even after all these years of pushing a mop, his mind still worked like an engineer's mind. When his shift ended at 6 in the morning, Daewon went to find the night supervisor. The supervisor was a young Valerian named Quentar. The Valerians were tall aliens with bodies that looked like they were made of crystal. They were proud of being the smartest species in the galaxy. They designed most of the advanced technology that everyone used. "Sir, I need to report something about Reactor 7, Daewon said. Quentar looked up from his screen. His crystalline face showed no emotion, but Daewon could tell he was annoyed. "What is it, human?" "There are unusual vibrations in the floor near the reactor. The frequency does not match normal operations. I think there might be a problem with the harmonic stabilizers." Quentar's crystal body seemed to shimmer with something like laughter. "You think? You are a janitor, human. You clean floors. You do not think about reactor harmonics. I used to be an engineer on Earth. I worked with nuclear reactors for 15 years. I know what I am talking about. Earth reactors." Quentar said the words like they tasted bad. "Your planet still uses primitive fission technology. This is quantum fusion. It is far beyond your understanding. Stick to your mop, human. Leave engineering to those with crystalline neural processors." Daewon felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. He had learned to swallow his pride. "Please, just check the readings. Something is wrong. The automated systems monitor everything. If there was a problem, the AI would alert us. Now go. I have important work to do." Daewon left the office. His hands were shaking. Not from fear, from frustration. He knew something was wrong, but no one would listen to him. No one ever listened to him. He walked through the station toward the residential section. The station was waking up. Alien beings of all shapes and sizes moved through the hallways. There were tall Valerians, small furry creatures called Pix, floating gas beings called Aerials, and others. Among them were a few humans, not many. Humans were considered good for basic jobs, but not smart enough for important work. Daewon reached his small apartment and opened the door quietly. Jiwoo was still asleep in her bed. She looked so peaceful, so small. She was only 9 years old. Her black hair spread across the pillow. She had her mother's face. Every time Daewon looked at her, he saw his wife. He sat down at the small table and looked at Jiwoo's school report on the screen. Perfect scores in every subject. Math, science, history, language. His daughter was brilliant. She could be anything she wanted to be. An engineer, a scientist, a doctor. She would not have to clean floors like her father. Next to the report was an old photo. Daewon in a nice suit standing in front of a nuclear plant on Earth. He was receiving an award for safety innovation. He looked confident, happy. That was before he found out his company was cutting corners on safety. Before he reported them. Before they destroyed his reputation and made sure he could never work as an engineer again. He had come to the space station to start over. But out here nobody cared about Earth credentials. The Valerians ran everything. And they made sure everyone knew that humans were second class. Daewon heard Jiwoo stir. He put on a smile and went to her bed. "Good morning, little star." Jiwoo opened her eyes and smiled. "Morning, Dad. Did you have a good night at work?" It was fine. Just cleaning like always. He did not tell her about the vibrations, about the reactor, about his worries. "Can we go see the neutron star after school?" Jiwoo asked. "Of course. We can go to the observation deck." Jiwoo got ready for school. Daewon made her breakfast. As she ate, she told him about a math problem she was working on. She was so excited about numbers and equations, just like he used to be. After he took her to school, Daewon came back home. But he could not sleep. He kept thinking about the vibrations, about the reactor. He pulled up technical manuals on his datapad, old Earth engineering books, studies on harmonic resonance. He read for hours. The more he read, the more worried he became. If he was right, if his instincts were correct, then Reactor 7 was developing a cascade failure. It would start small, just vibrations, then it would grow, and grow, until it exploded. But who would believe him? He was just a janitor, just a human, just someone nobody important. Daewon looked out the window at the neutron star. Its light was strange and beautiful, dangerous and powerful, just like the reactors that kept them all alive. He made a decision. He would keep watching. He would document everything. And he would find a way to make someone listen. Because if he was right and if nobody stopped it, thousands of people would die, including his daughter.